Welcome to Keep Your Head Up Hockey. I'm your host, Jamie. We got J Dog and Dylan Nose in the house. What's going on? Welcome to your Tuesday full edition of Keep Your Head Up Hockey. It's going to be a good one. We're going to run through some playoff talk. We're going to talk about the current Leafs. We're going to talk about that crazy kid, REMPE. And yeah, we got a bunch of topics to talk about. Should be a good one. But first, want to give a shout out to our new sponsor, KK Poker. Thanks so much for supporting us and being part of the group here. KKPoker.net is your poker need if you're not in Ontario. They've got great live satellites, even some for the upcoming WSOP event in Toronto, $50 buy-in to get $1,000 seat. And then they've also got $30 buy-ins for $1,000 seats, $2,000 seats for 50. So some great value on that website. Definitely a big shout out to Trevor Delaney, the Maritime Poker head of KK Poker. Thanks so much for the sponsorship and for supporting us and sharing it on your page. But let's get going. We'll get going with the topics here. Some big topics to talk about. You know what? We just ran through it. And we just got into this trade deadline, which was a pretty crazy one. And you know what? The Leafs kind of got made a couple additions. I don't think they did enough, but we'll talk about it. But we'll first talk about who did the best, who made the biggest moves. And I've got to give a big shout out to the Florida Panthers and the Vegas Golden Knights, as well as Colorado, for making some pretty darn good moves. We'll start off with a couple moves that Vegas made. Thomas Hertl, they picked him up. They also got a third-round pick and in 2025 and 2027 for David Edstrom, who they weren't really using. 2025 first-round pick they gave to the San Jose Sharks for Thomas Hertl. Great addition for them. They needed a center that can produce on the third line for them, and I think he's going to be a really good addition for them, as well as Noah Hannafin that they picked up from Calgary. And they only gave Daniel Minoranoff as well as two conditional 2025 picks, a first and a third. I thought they gave the bare minimum for a couple great players to add to their squad. We'll throw it over to Dylan. What are your thoughts on the Vegas Golden Knights and how they look after picking up Thomas Hertl as well as Noah Hannafin?
Yeah, they're going to look pretty good coming down the stretch here. I think this is what they absolutely needed. Obviously, they've been without Mark Stone, and you can tell that they're struggling to even make the playoffs. They are, fighting for a wild card spot right now. And, the St. Louis is geared up. They're prepped and ready to make a push for them as well. So I think the Golden Knights is absolutely what they had to do. And, there was a lot of grumblings on social media about how they're manipulating the cap, but everything they did was perfectly legal. A lot of jokes about Mark Stone and how he's always getting hurt or something's always happening to him. I don't know what he's not doing his stretches or his exercises.
He's got like a problem with his spleen, I heard, or something like that, which is serious if that's the case. But I think all of a sudden he's just gonna wake up and be like, yeah, I'm fine, game one, and be ready to jump back into action. But yeah, no, I hear you there, Dylan. J-Dog, what do you think about Vegas and the couple additions that they made?
Additions, I don't think it really mattered who they added. I think they were going to be a solid team throughout. I think they're going to make the playoffs. The additions are good, obviously, but again, they're one of those teams that you can't count out no matter what you do. They've got that hard work ethic. They're a lunchbox team. They're suiting up for work every day. There's probably I've read, at least in my time in the last year, looking at this the information on these guys, I've seen at least 10, maybe 12 other comments, or not comments, but write-ups about how hard the Vegas Golden Knight practices are. So how the physicality, the amount that the amount that they're skating, the amount of the drills that they do, but also the cohesiveness. This is a team that seems to be very cohesive. They all seem to get along. And I mean, look where you're living, and look, you get to go golfing in the afternoon or in the morning or whatever. You go to practice, like your day's not hard. If you want to go spend a few bucks at the casino, you can, like their life is just, and it's a party at the rink. Like atmosphere alone would drive you every time you stepped on that ice. They got the best show on earth right now when it comes to hockey. And I think that is a very big driving force in their success, if you want my honest opinion. And I don't really think that it doesn't necessarily take the best team to win in that environment. It takes teamwork, cohesiveness, hard work ethic. And I think these guys have it all.
There's something to be said about that energy, Jay, for sure, that they have in that city and around that team. That really motivates them and helps them play a lot better than maybe most people think they should. Look how they started when they first came into the league. Like, they've been nonstop lights out since day one.
Ever since day one, they've been, and they make minimal trades every year, and they make a couple of little adjustments, and that's all they do.
You'd think that the party atmosphere would negatively affect the team, right?
Well, unless you're like, I'll say, Kane or something like that, like, remember Kane got in trouble and was holding a wad of cash, and that kind of mentality. And I think that hard work ethic type guys that are willing to get up at dark stupid in the morning, put the time in. I think that is a driving force amongst most of the guys on that team. And I think that type of mentality is not the same everywhere. And I think that I think once you find that cohesiveness, the guys that you can count on, when you can look down on either side of your bench and say, there isn't a guy here that I don't trust. There's maybe one or two teams in the league that are like that, and they're one of them. So I think that's a big deal. You don't have to be the best team. You're willing to go to war with everybody on your bench, for everybody on your bench. And and everybody in the stands. And the crazy part is the fans that they have. It's a very big growing group, and they've got an overturn. Like, there's a lot of fans that go to the games, that are regulars, but there's still a ton of fans that are coming in from all over the world, and they're fans of Vegas. And they cheer. A lot of them just cheer for Vegas because it is Vegas, but they don't care. Once they get into that environment, it's another driving force. I think they're going to be a very big, another 3 to 4 years. I think they're going to be like as big or pretty close to big as the Leafs as far as the environment, the MLS, or like Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, that kind of thing. They've got it all sorted, man, and they got the money to back it. So there's nothing stopping them from being a better team, to being a consistent team, and to bring in who they want, when they want, at the time they want.
Well, they must handpick guys, right? Like, they must handpick guys with those intangibles that when they do the interviews, it's like they got to pick guys with good heads on their shoulders. They can't have guys like Patrick Kane. They don't take risks. It's funny. They're a Las Vegas team and they don't take any risks. The house always wins, right? Yeah. I guess they load up their team with low risk guys who they know are going to get the job done and work hard. Lunch pail guys.
Well, nobody's crazy fancy on that team. There's no Canes or Tavares or, back in the day kind of thing, or I'm not saying now, obviously, there's no Matthews. There's nobody like that. Like, Marchessault is probably the most fancy guy they have on that team. Because, I don't know who else you would, who else?
But he's a lunch pail guy from the beginning. He's
a guy he's got some skills though too. He's
was he
smart.
even drafted? No, probably not. I don't even know if he was drafted.
I was going to say, boys, that they don't have to argue with any player to get to come there. Everybody wants to go to a city like Vegas.
There's no taxes.
And go play in Vegas. Yeah, there's no taxes, and also it's just a great place to live and a great place to experience for a few years, right? Like. And also, we have the fans to touch on that too.
Well, it's cheaper to go. Though, I don't think is great for your family. I'll be honest with you, because if you're off the strip, like I've got lots of friends that go to Vegas on a regular basis, and if you go 2 streets off the strip, it's a shithole. So and it's like drugs, alcohol, whatever. And you think all the gambling, it's gonna be everything, like that. except you've got the outskirts that has the small gated communities and stuff like that in the area where a lot of the players live and that kind of shit. I get that. It's kind of like when I'm living in here. You've got security in areas that are secure. Like you've got people protecting you. There's still there's still some.
Well, look at Winnipeg, Jay. It's not any worse when you get out of the city. Even in the city, there's drugs and drug use. It's one of the worst cities in Canada and probably in the world for per capita drug use and
it's not good. It needs to be cleaned up.
Loser mentality. And it's Winnipeg. It's a wintry place to live. At least in Vegas, it's nice.
Yeah. Well, that just
touch on what Jay said too about fans coming from all over the world to go to Vegas. Like, why not go? If you're going to go to Vegas, why not go and watch your hockey team play and organize your trip around when your team plays, right? Like, it's a great city to go to, number one, on a vacation, but then add some hockey to it. That's why a lot more Canadians are going there. And you saw when the Leafs last played there, tons of Leaf fans had rearranged their vacation to go down when Vegas played Toronto in Vegas. It's a cheaper vacation than going to Toronto and go to the game. Pay for your flight, hotel, and the game's probably cheaper or around the exact same price, and you get to experience a different city and go to a warm climate. So we'll keep the show going. We'll move on from that one. That was a big couple of trades. Another trade to mention, I really didn't think that Buffalo would do too much, but they did, and they traded Bowen Byram and Colorado. I picked up Bowen Byram for Casey Middlestat. What a trade that one was. And I tell you right now, Colorado looks even more dangerous with a kid like that. He was leading Buffalo Sabres in points this year, and he is even still an underachiever, I think, in Buffalo. He's got a ton of talent, and I really like this trade by both teams. The Buffalo Sabres get Bowen Byram, a great defenseman that wanted to have a major impact in Colorado and kind of got behind Kyle McCarr. And I think that he's going to get a lot more ice time in Buffalo. And I really think that's a great trade for both teams. In Colorado, trying to make a push for another Stanley Cup, they needed a third line center, and Middlestat could even be their second center, no problem, if he really steps it up. A really, really great trade by both teams. I love that one. We'll quickly go through thoughts on that. What are your thoughts, Dylan, on the Buffalo Sabres and Colorado exchange in there?
Yeah, like you said, man, Casey Middlestat has been an on-fire, good little pickup at a team that is already fast and is already an offensive juggernaut. Now they've added another piece to speed up that team and put more pucks in the net. So I love watching the Colorado games. I love the style of hockey that they play. They're fast, they're loose, they're quick. They got puck-moving defensemen. And I catch as many games as I can, but I certainly watch the ones against the Leafs, and they're always back and forth, high skilled matchups. And for Middlestat is a perfect fit for this lineup, and he's just going to add to what they already have. And when it comes to trades in any organization, cohesiveness is a big part of it, and he's definitely a good cohesive piece of the puzzle for sure.
Jay, what are your thoughts on Bowen Byram going to Buffalo and Casey going the other way to Colorado?
Well, I think, it's a good trade. There's not much else to say really about that. But if you want my honest opinion, I think one of the best trades is the Carolina trade. I think that's.
Yeah, and we'll touch on that one, right? Why don't you jump in there then? We'll touch on the Carolina trade, the Gunsel trade for Bunting.
So this is a great trade for both teams, as far as I'm concerned, because I think Bunting can play with Crosby. If they didn't make this trade, but they're not making the playoffs this year. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs. However, one of two things needs to happen. They're thinking, like, as far as I'm concerned, as far as if Getzel's leaving, why would you leave and playing with maybe the best player of this era or pretty close? He's at the end of it, but still, he's still playing. Crosby's playing fantastic, but the rest of the team's not. So they're making a trade that builds the team a little bit more. You're getting a few more players. You're getting a few picks. You're dropping. Well, the salaries kind of works out, I guess, a little bit there. But as far as both teams are concerned, for right now, this makes for a better trade as far as Carolina, because they're going to go. I think they're going to go deep. I think they're going to do something. You just never know this year, though. I think it's so up in the air, but I think they're going to do well. But Pittsburgh needs to build a team. They're not doing anything right now. But so my thought is either you trade Crosby, and maybe Getzel knows that, because Crosby's got 2 years left at the most, and he's playing fantastic. I think he's got 2 years left at the most. Yeah. He's playing fantastic, and you need to give this guy an actual team to play. And give him a chance. Like they haven't been shit for the last 5, 6 years now, 7 years, 6 years. So why do this to this guy? I know he doesn't owe anything to that team anymore. He's done more than his time. You need to give him a team to play with, or you need to ship him to a team that's going to win another championship. I think he deserves it. And Getzel, I think, knew one of the two things is coming. Either this team's going to sink for the next 2 or 3 more years to make, and then do another rebuild, and you're going to waste Crosby. But Getzel is a fucking good player. I think he's better. Yeah. He's one of the most underrated guys in the league. He makes Crosby look good, and people don't see fantastic. It. And I'm not saying that Crosby can't look good on his own. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he complements Crosby very well, and I think that trade is going to hurt Pittsburgh even more right now. However, Bunting's going to fill that role, I think, but he's not as skilled offensively. He does need Pittsburgh does need another agitator type player. There's no question. And Getzel's a little bit like that, but he's not physical like Bunting. And Bunting's not even a big dude, but he still plays a bit, a physical game. He doesn't go crashing and banging in the boards, but he does that in front of the net very well. And he takes shit and abuse like better than most guys do. And he does give it out too. I mean, he takes his fair share of penalties. And most of the time they're pretty good. They're pretty good to watch. He's entertaining. And he's fun to watch, and I think he's going to bring something to the team for sure. But I definitely believe that the Getzel and the Hurricanes win that trade.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like they get one of the best players in the league with Jake Gunsel, left winger, just hard-nosed hockey player, comes to work every day and puts his A game on. Just love that trade. They gave away a couple of other players that are really not even mentionable. But they did get a couple draft picks as well, Pittsburgh.
First rounder.
2024 first rounder, as well as 2024 fifth rounder. So they did get some good value by giving away Gunsel. And I think that Michael Bunting is definitely not at his, his cap. I think he can still play some really good hockey. He need to add some toughness to that squad. So I really think it's a great trade. We'll move on to one more trade and then we'll move on with the show. I thought another really banger of a trade was the Ottawa Senators finally unloading somebody. They unloaded Vladimir Tarasenko. And for the Florida Panthers, I wasn't sure about this trade because really Tarasenko hasn't done anything in Ottawa. But I just don't think that was a good fit for him. Ottawa's had a crap year, unfortunately, with all the talent that they've had. But he's now got 3 points in the first 2 games and really playing great. He's had 12 minutes of ice time with them, really stepping it up. And they got a 4th-round pick for next year, as well as the other year, a 3rd-round pick. So really for Florida, they gave away the bare minimum to get a veteran guy that can put the puck in the net and a playoff guy. So I just absolutely love that. Quickly, though, too, I wanted to give a shout out to the guy commenting, the Mr. Dawson, Jay Dawson, a good buddy of mine, tuning in. He is a guy that watches the show every week. So shout out to you, Jay. Appreciate you, big old JD. Thanks for tuning in and commenting. What do you think about the trades? Maybe like a last minute comment here from Mr. Nose. What do you think here about the trades this year?
Yeah. Gensel trade we just talked about. Jake and Bake, baby. He's good. 40 goal scorer and 36 goals. 40 goal scorer twice, 36 goals one other year. I mean, the stats speak for themselves. He's got better stats than Tarasenko. Tarasenko's a great pickup for a team like Florida. They need a guy in Florida with a little more skill, a little more hands. They don't need the crasher, banger energy guys, and you're not going to get that out of Tarasenko. Tarasenko at his point in his career and pretty much his whole career, he's been a complimentary player, and he is an excellent complement to an already strong Florida Panthers. The only one thing I worry about with him on the team is how does it affect that room, that team, an underachieving team that's been playing like well over expectations, and they had a guy like Tarasenko. Does that affect the room a little bit because he's not? I don't know. He's kind of you hate to label the Russian guys, but some of these guys that come onto the teams, they get the they get to the cherry picking, and they're not known for their hard-nosed work. They're not like Alex Ovechkin, who's an anomaly. But guys like Tarasenko, Yashin, there's guys that you think about who are really, really skilled, but don't get the job done. Who's the guy? Who's the other Russian guy that I'm thinking about? Yeah, played for Kozlov. Played for Montreal. Oh, remember he missed that one game in Montreal, and the puck was right there, and he didn't even go for it. I'll never forget that. Like he's just not a.
Let's get to what everybody wants to talk about, though. Let's get to what everyone wants to talk about here. The Leafs and what Trevlin did or didn't do. We did add a few key pieces. We brought back Lyubushkin back from Anaheim. Gave the bare minimum for him. I think he's going to be a good fit. We brought back Joel Evanston, I brought over Joel Evanston from Washington. I thought that was our best trade. Big guy, like 6'7", is he not? Like a really big guy, 225 pounds or so. Loves to throw the weight around. I like him. I really do. I think he's going to be a good fit on our team. He likes to pass the puck first. I watched a lot of tape over the last year from how he plays in Washington. He's definitely good at. And we also got Cade Weber from Carolina for barely nothing, got a 6th-rounder going their way in 2 years. And then Connor Dewar, who's another guy I really like, and young kid coming over from Minnesota. And we gave the bare minimum for him, a 4th-rounder, and then Ovinchikov, a center that we don't use. So really just a great trade there as well. But Joel Evanston, I think, is going to be the biggest addition to this team. Well, only time will tell with these guys that they're really going to make an impact on the Leafs running into the playoffs. You only got 16, 17 games left. It's really going to be, it's going to be interesting. But I thought that Joel played okay his first game, and we'll see what comes up next. We'll throw it over to Dylan. What do you think about what Trevlin did or didn't do? Did he sit on his hands, do nothing, or do you think that this is enough for the Leafs to at least get by a first round with Boston?
I got to tell you, as a Leafs fan, I was super pissed. I was kind of like, what are they doing? Nothing's happening. I was listening to Trade Center all day, texting with my buddies, my Leaf friends about it, texting with you guys, and like, Jesus, fuck, like, why aren't they doing anything? And then I got to thinking about it afterwards, and I was thinking about the history of the Leafs at the trade deadline, and it's really been shit. They add guys that are big names. The fans get all horny about it, and it just fizzles out. Just to name a few: Brian Leetch, Owen Nolan, even Nick Foligno, even O'Reilly and Achari last year. Like, at the end of the day, you got to go with what you have. And I kind of like that move from Trevlin. Maybe that galvanizes the team a little bit. Maybe the boys in the dressing room say, hey, Treliving's not, he trusts us. He knows we can get the job done. And he did the right thing, and he added a lot of depth on D. A ton of depth on D, especially with the injuries we've had. He knows what's going on with those injuries and what his players are dealing with, especially Giordano, who's older. And when it comes to the D core, now they've got some real internal competition. Maybe these D-men in practice will really be giving her, because they know it's almost like a mini training camp every time they practice to see who's going to play the next game. And that's what we need. We need guys who are ready to compete defensively every single night, just like when O'Reilly or when Morgan Riley was out of the lineup and everybody stepped up. That's the kind of attitude and energy that the team needs. And I think with the additions that we have, or we put in there on the D, is going to make that happen. Connor Dewar, love that too. We need a guy that's going to step up and add some depth and potentially just be a lightning in the bottle for this team, kind of like what I think McMahon's going to do. There are guys on this team that are going to either prove themselves or not and make a name for themselves or not, and it's going to make Trevelyan look like a genius, or it's going to be, the opposite.
It's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be one or the other. Yeah, it's going to be good.
But I don't think adding a big name would have changed anything. I really don't.
We've got our big names, right? We do. We truly
exactly
do. We needed depth on defense, and I think he added a couple great pieces. I want to hear what J-Dog has to think. Jay, what do you think happened on the trade deadline with the Leafs, and how'd they do?
Well, I think the whole back end changed with Lyubushkin and Edmondson. Edmondson is actually, I just looking up his stats there. He's actually 6'5", but he's 221. The other thing that changed this team over the last few trades, other than Lyubushkin, obviously, is adding a few more good Canadian boys to the team. There's 17 good Canadian boys on the team now, and I think that makes a difference. You want to win a Stanley Cup, you need lots of Canadians, and that's the facts. And this team has had lots of Europeans, Americans on the team over the last while, and adding some good Canadian boys to put them over. You need 17 Canadians on the team. I don't give a shit. Look at all the teams that have won. I don't think there's ever been anything less than 16 Canadians on a team, except for maybe Detroit. It's the only team I think that's ever won with less than 16 Canadians on the team. So you need to have that. The goaltending size-wise, I never really realized how big Martin Jones was. He's 6'5". He's a big dude. Boy. I didn't think he was that tall. I thought he was 6'2", 6'3", but the other guys are 6'3". So we got good-sized goaltending. I think Jones should be in net, though. If anything happens, I think Samsonov's been playing very well lately. Things change. We all say the same thing. 2 months ago, we were saying get rid of the motherfucker. And you know what?
Now his nickname is Samsonov.
Yeah, he's changed. And things do change. It's not that everybody liked him. He was a likable personality. He is a likable personality. He was open, very open, but I think he's not exactly. He might not be the most. I don't know. He's not a charismatic kind of guy. He doesn't seem to be the most I don't know how to explain it, but he's very open about his problems, which a lot of people don't do, and that's not I think for a Leaf fan, for myself, I really like seeing him open up. It actually made me feel for him. But the problem with that is then you feel for him, you feel bad, give him another chance, give him another chance, give him another chance. However, what they see in practice is something that we don't see. So if there's no pressure on him, he's playing like a friggin' genius in net, like during practice, but he's just having something wrong during a game. Just like you in high school, Jamie, you're doing great every day, but when a test came, same thing. Anyway, it just like some people just don't, if they got a mental block for a while, something happens. And obviously that's what happened because he's playing fantastic right now. I think Jones is an excellent backup goalie. I don't think Wall's there yet. I think next year they should look at trading Jones and get something for him on the back end and the defensive end. They've got that other 6'7" kid in the Marlies. I think right now, as far as the team's concerned, there's lots of things that we can do to make this team better for next year and keep not messing around with the salary cap except for dropping it because, well, I know it's going up, but which will make everything a lot easier, but we won't have to get rid of too much to make things better. And I think get rid of one good goalie, one of the goalies, the prospect goalies, and bring somebody in on defense, a superstar in on defense. And I think it changes the whole team.
Well, let's get through the first round against Boston here first, because that's what
we'll talk about that.
Lining up against.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying, to me right now, did they do enough? I don't think it's quite there. But I think next year, I think it would only take one good trade next year. And I think that puts the team over the top.
The biggest problem, and I posted this on Facebook and on the site, and I got a lot of response and a lot of idiots out there trolling me, thinking they're getting to me. But obviously, I don't really give a shit what anybody says. And I was talking about the contract with Tavares, and I said, put him on waivers, not realizing, of course, I didn't realize it was only going to free up $1 million, which makes sense. But at the same time, that's $1 million we could have used. And no one's going to pick up Tavares' contract or I don't know. It's too bad they couldn't have. Mitch Marner got hurt like right after the trade deadline. Like, why couldn't they throw him on LTIR? I don't know what's going on with him, but it just seems like that is the Tavares needs to earn his keep. And hopefully that's what happens in the playoffs. Remember when he got put out in the playoffs in the first shift, like 2 years ago?
Oh my gosh, he got dinged. What a dirty hit against Montreal. It was nasty. It was actually, was it not Corey Perry that made the hit?
That's Corey Perry, that fucker.
Yeah,
my kids still hate Corey Perry from that.
Fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit.
Fuck that guy.
But anyway, terrible hit, a dirty hit. And he's saying he didn't mean to do it, but Tavares was out and he was in his prime, and that kind of really messes up. I did want to give some little bit of back thought on what Jay said, because it really is worth talking about. Ilya Samsonov's save was 5-2-6, 3.94 goal against average, 862 save percentage before we sent him down. He needed a break. He had a baby. He just got married the year before. Beautiful wife, beautiful family. But you know what? When you have kids, and everybody can talk about that on this show because everybody's got kids, it gives a lot of stress. Then you add the Toronto front goalie stress to it, stressed out, like through the roof, guaranteed. You got people chirping you when you're not playing well. It happens. We gave him that break. We sent him down. And we probably gave him a week or two off in the middle to say, hey, take some family time, go do you, to have a break. Samson, lots of saves coming back after the break. 12-3, 0 losses in overtime, which was his problem, and 2.37 goals against average, and a 9-11. One of the best records since then in the league. And I'm somebody that's eating my words bad right now because I was calling for his head. I was calling for his head. But you know what? Everybody needs some support. Everybody needs to keep your head up and get through it. And he did. So you know what, Samsonov? I'm sorry. I apologize. You're playing well. Keep it up. Way to go, buddy. I am quite impressed with the numbers and with how you're playing, man. But
you're passionate, Jamie.
It's stressful.
You're passionate, Jamie.
I'm a passionate Leaf fan. I want the best for this team. And if we can get a better goalie in front, I'm going to call him out. But you know what? I really think he is our number one guy right now running into Boston. I think that we got to start him for sure right now. But yeah, just massive. And you know what, too? I wanted to shout out Core 4. You guys are the best. Even though we post something, an opinion, and we get the trolls chirping, we still love you. It's a great group. Thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, trolls, calm her down. Everybody's got an opinion. State your opinion. Don't attack the person personally.
It's going up.
I think somebody was calling out saying that, oh, well, somebody doesn't know numbers. This guy's a mortgage broker. He doesn't even know his numbers. That's a personal attack. Let's talk hockey here. So yeah,
Stupid.
That's my 2 cents.
You're
on
a little man with little dick syndrome when you're calling out people like that. Come on, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, we can say whatever we want on this show, but when you're on a group, on Facebook, come on now. Like let's keep it hockey here and don't personally attack people.
I don't mind. I love it.
I know
Bring
you
it
love
on. Say what you want about me.
Get
me in a room together. I'll map REMPE your ass. Let's go.
The Leafs are ready. Let's keep it on with the Leafs. We'll keep the conversation going on about the Leafs. It looks like it's going to be a war in Boston. It really does. With that last game, I got to say, boys, I loved how we stepped it up physically. Yeah, we lost 4-1. That's fine. We got some valuable information those last 2 games. Did Keefe do anything with it? Absolutely fucking nothing. He didn't come in and change his game plan, nothing. It's just the boys said, we're going to be tough and we're going to be rock'em sock'em. One thing that I hated and then I loved, McMahon cross-checks us to the face to start the game. Yeah, 5-on-3, put us down 1 goal for sure. But does it put a bad taste in Boston's mouth against McMahon?
No, it's McCabe.
McCabe. Sorry, McCabe, not McMahon, but McCabe. But yeah, does it put a bad taste in their mouth about our defensemen? Oh yeah. And do you think they're going to be taking some stupid fucking penalties in the playoffs? Oh fucking yeah, absolutely. So I think it's $5,000 worthwhile. I think it's worth losing a game and bring it on in the playoffs. Those boys are going to be hunting McCabe. McCabe's a tough son of a bitch. He can take it. But I think that was well worth it. Well overdue for a piece of shit like Marchand. He should have been cross-checked in the face a million times over by bigger, tougher guys. I also wanted to shout out Domi for trying to fight that piece of shit, and he still didn't fucking fight because he's the pussy, and he always has been, and he always will be. He is the biggest Canadian pussy in the hockey league. He will not fight fucking nobody. Pussy, straight up. And yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Has he ever
on
been
Boston.
in a fight?
Bring it fucking on.
Oh,
yeah, they're a good fucking team. But you know what? The Leafs get fucking lucky sometimes. And I think that if we push it to game 7, who's going to fucking win? Canadian boys with fucking heart. So bring it on. I want to see Boston in the first round. I don't give a fuck if they knock us out, because you know what? Payback's a bitch, and we need to give these guys some payback. And it's time. It's our time. Anyway, my 2 cents on the war in Boston. Dylan, what do you got to say about after that, bro?
I don't even know how to follow that up, man. That is like, you know what I do? I like the energy and the toughness you got, because that's what this Leafs team has that they didn't have against Boston. And Boston is a weaker team to me. They don't have those tough guys. We could push them around, and we've got more skill too. So I know we lost 6 in a row against Boston, and the Boston Garden, whatever they call it, TD Garden's tough barn to play in. So it's going to be hard to win some games. Hopefully we can get home ice advantage, because I really feel like we can beat these guys at home. So if we carry on with the rest of the season here with a pretty solid winning record, and we can surpass Boston, fight for that home ice advantage, that's really going to favor the Leafs in this series, and not be. I don't know. I feel like they get intimidated in that barn for some reason. They're haunted there, and we bring them back to ours, and we show them what Canadian, North American, Toronto hockey is all about: rough, tumble, and skilled and scoring. And pissed off that they lost. They keep losing to Boston, but I still feel like they're so beatable. They're just so beatable.
J-Doc, what do you got to say about the pending war in Boston?
I think the team's different. Playoff style hockey. You got Bertuzzi. Domi's not like, he's a tough guy, but he's not a heavyweight. He's a light middleweight at that, something like that. Still likes to grind it out though. Nyes is sticking up for himself lots lately. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but he's starting to play with a little burr under his saddle. I like that. Bobby McMahon's got a little burr under his saddle if he wants. You got Reeves. I would say that Benoit is probably one of the toughest dudes on the team. You've now just added Edmondson and McCabe.
Bertuzzi.
Yeah, I said Bertuzzi first. Yeah, and McCabe has been playing like tough and mean, and I like it. He's starting to play like he's got that Dave Manson style hockey, which I like. He doesn't say very much. He keeps his mouth shut. He just gives you the nod, and it's like, let's go time, And then you got Labushkin too, which I think is a big, tough dude. Like this team has changed. You've got, I think last year and the year between last year and the year before, you had like a third of the players under 5'11". Now almost everybody except for 1 or 2 players. I think there's only 1 or 2 players that are not 6 feet. It's a much bigger team, and just about everybody is 190 or more. You got 3 guys that are under, that are 180, but these are skill dudes, so who cares? Like you've got a physical team now. They're not like, they're not like a big tough team, but what you saw the other night showed that they're not going to be intimidated. What McCabe did sent a message. The fact that Domi was trying to fight with them, the fact that they had no idea. Boston, to me, I think there was not, as far as I got 2 thoughts here. They're both coming to my head at the same time. Boston wasn't sure what was going on for a little while, and the game started to sway. Even though Boston scored a couple of goals, the game was starting to sway in Toronto's favor because the physicality was like a total misnomer for Boston to feel. They were being physically beaten. They weren't getting beaten as far as the score was concerned, but they were getting physically beaten, and they're not used to that. They're used to having guys like Chara around, and like guys that, like, going back, they've always had a guy that's been 6'5", 6'6", to patrol the ice for them. They don't have that anymore. McAvoy maybe is their toughest dude. Like they've got a couple. The other kid there, the fighter they have, I'm having a brain fart for his name, but he's not a great player, so he's not going to be on the ice all the time. I watched Reeves play the last couple games. His skating's improved. 3 times his line had the cycle going in the opposing team or both opposing team's end for like 30 seconds to a minute on a full 1 minute shift, having the cycle going, get the hell off the ice, get back on the ice because they played such a good shift. And then all they did was throw hits. And that's changing the way the dynamic of the team. And, you can say what you want about Reeves, but anybody and everybody that's played with him says he's a great teammate. And in the change room, he's full of energy. Sometimes they say he's a little over the top and whatever, but whatever it takes to get your team, you're still got to be like, you're in the NHL, you're in the show. And some guy who's getting paid to punch your face off or get his face punched off is leading your team and pep talks. I mean, if that doesn't tell you something, that he's jacked to be playing in a team like this, he knows what they have and he knows what he has to do to get the best out of them, which includes physicality. That's what they've been missing. And I tell you, this team has changed physically throughout the year. And now adding Edmondson to the team, I think, and Lyubushkin is changing the dynamic of this team hugely.
Yeah. And use these 2 games to kind of set up Boston, I think, a little bit. Show them, okay, we're going to do this, right? And we're going to try and get Matthews the puck this way. But then come playoff time, completely switch it and show a different offensive play is kind of what I wanted to say. I think that even though we lost those games, in knowing that we're more than likely going to play them, we might have been setting them up a little bit, right? And using those 4 points to our advantage, right? Do we really need the 4 points? Not really. Yeah, we want home ice advantage, but we're behind by 12 points. We're probably not going to get there. Let's kind of fool these guys a little bit, right? So that's kind of what I took of it. I think that Keefe is being a little bit dicey with that decision, but they couldn't get Matthews the puck at all. And I was thinking to myself, like, this isn't the Leafs kind of game. Like, this is kind of weird. But I think that we might be setting them up a little bit. So we'll see. Well, we'll see. I think that Keefe's a better coach than people give him a shout out for. I think that he can coach, and only time will tell. Bring on the playoffs. Anyway, Jake, go ahead.
I'd like to say one thing. What I would do for the very first game is I would start Benoit and Edmondson, and then I would put Bertuzzi, McCabe, and fucking Reeves on the starting lineup on a face-off against Boston. And the first thing I would do is fucking start a fight. The first fucking minute. Set the fucking tone. Punch the face off them. Don't care. A couple guys might get a suspension or whatever, but set the tone. Because the guys that are the tough guys, other than Edmondson, maybe, are not going to win the game for you. Bertuzzi is a guy that's going to definitely make damage throughout that. He can score, he can grind, he can check, he can do all those things. He's definitely going to be an important player. But you know what? Just set it up so Reeves grabs a hold of somebody and punches the face off him, or Edmondson or whatever. I don't care which one. One of these guys grabs somebody, one of their I won't say their best players, but one of their good players, and just punch the face off them. Let them get the 10 minutes, whatever. Even if you lose the first game, I don't really care, or at least lose the first period, and then come back and just be physical that whole game. Beat the shit out of them the whole game. That's what I would do. Set the tone right away.
I love it. And that's old school hockey, and that's what we got to play, because Boston, that's what they play in the playoffs, is old school, tough, dirty hockey. And if we're going to even have a chance to this team, we got to change our game. We got to play a style of game that Florida played last year. Sam Bennett, cross-checking the shit out of the bunting in front of the net, the neck and the face and the back. Just get rough and tumble and nasty. And yeah, you know what? I don't want Marchand on this team, and I said that on our pregame show on Saturday. But you got to play tough nose hockey like he does to win Stanley Cups. And I think that if the Stanley is out anywhere in our future, we got to play that style of hockey because the whistles go away. We all know that the game changes when the playoffs hit. So 17, 18 games away, April. I think we've got the exact date for the first game. We'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, it's coming, boys and girls. Get excited. Get your beers out. Get your boys out. Get pumped. Get to the bar and get going because we got playoff hockey coming up soon. And keep your head up. Going to be there along the way. We're going to be having shows and we're going to be talking pregame hockey and getting pumped up. So get excited. We got some big things coming to this show. But yeah, we'll change the story unless Dylan's got a last minute conversation on the war in Boston. Any last minute words? I think we said it all, didn't we? We said it all. But yeah, we're gonna run it over to potentially
let our actions speak. Let our actions speak louder than our words. That's what's actions. Gonna happen in Boston.
Yeah, damn right. But a couple other pending first rounders I wanted to talk about, just because we talked about them all year. We've got Oilers and Kings potentially being a first round matchup, boys. And that one might be pretty difficult for the Oilers to get through. Now, I love the Oilers. Don't get me wrong. You know, it's gonna be crazy. But I'm thinking maybe an upset for LA against the Oilers. Like the Oilers, I'm telling you, they have the kind of the same haunting as the Leafs do in the playoffs. They can't get by that first round a lot of the time. But I think that this year is different. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, LA has got a great team. They've had some great goaltending. The Oilers though as well. That's going to be a dandy matchup. And then the Jets and Avalanche pending for the first round as well. And I wanted to talk about the Canadian teams, obviously, and the Canucks and Golden Knights. 3 pending matchups that are going to be in that Western Conference with a lot of Canadian teams. What do you guys think is going to be the best series besides the Toronto-Boston one's going to be, I think, the best series. But what do you think is going to be the best series? Oilers and Kings, Jets and Avalanche, or Canucks and Golden Knights? And we'll throw it over to Jay. Well, Jay, which one are you going to be watching?
Well, I think that the Stanley Cup is being played in the first round of its Winnipeg and the Avalanche. I think that's if Avalanche win that. It doesn't matter what team wins that. Whoever makes it through that first round goes to the final. To me, in my head, I think they go to the final. I know that Golden Knights are going to be ringing around those guys as well, but I think that's. I still think that the stronger team will be one of those two teams.
Okay. And what do you think, Dylan? What do you think is going to be the best Canadian series besides the Leaf one in the first round? We've got Canucks and Golden Knights pending. The Oilers one, the Oilers and Kings.
And the LA one is going to be awesome. The Oilers will win. They're going to run that one over. Who are the Canucks? Who are the Canucks potentially playing again?
Canucks potentially
Vegas?
are playing the Golden Knights.
Vegas.
Golden Knights, yeah.
That'll be a fun one to watch too. Oh man, it's gonna be so good. I can't wait to get my teeth into some playoff hockey, man. It's just like just an unbelievable time
wonderful time
isn't it?
Year.
Like there is nothing better than NHL playoff hockey. Honestly, every single night's
I like World Juniors better.
Come on.
Yeah.
I like the World Juniors better. I like it.
Oh gosh, get out of here.
I like the World Juniors better.
Sorry. There's something to be said, though, about a 7-game series, 4 rounds of punching and kicking and screaming and fighting and battling and busted knees and busted knuckles and busted backs and busted skulls and blood and teeth. There's just nothing like it in any other sport in the world. When you get the playoff hockey, people who become addicted to hockey watch playoff hockey and are just just astounded by the war.
I agree. I have friends here. So my partner, well, as I've told you guys about a restaurant down here. It's opening. It's called Che Bavaro, by the way. It'll be opening at the end of March, hopefully, here in Punta Cana at the Jumbo Mall. We'll call it the Jumbo Mall. It's the San Juan Mall, but everybody knows where Jumbo is. But anyway, point being, my partner here is shout out to Willie Mondino, good Argentinian dude. And that's what he calls everybody. Hey, dude. Anyway, that's the one thing that he says is that, he's a total Messi fan, Argentina fan. He actually played pro, semi-pro or pro, I can't remember which, but rugby. So he knows how to go to war. And he just says, watching hockey is magnificent. He says that he goes, you need to skate, you need to shoot, you need to be able to fight, you need to be able to check, you need to be able to keep your head on a swivel. And like he says, all those things that you have to do, and you're doing it 35 kilometers an hour. He goes, it's crazy. He goes, it's just mind blowing. And say that with an accent, it sounds even funnier. So, he just gets ready.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He doesn't watch it all the time, but he says
mind blowing.
Yeah,
and he's what, a soccer, baseball loving guy.
He's a soccer guy. He likes watching soccer, but he's an actual rugby guy. But the point being, though, is that he says once he starts watching, he just can't stop. And my other friends that are, I got Mexico, Dominican, Haitian, like everybody here. This is very multicultural here, but mostly South American and Caribbean. But anybody that talks about hockey, they think we're all fucking nuts. How could you do that? I mean, you must be skilled. You got to be smart. You got to be whatever. Well, you don't have to be smart to play hockey. You have to have some hockey sense, but you don't have to be smart. However, I mean, to be a good hockey player, you should be probably a little smarter in some ways than others. But he goes, the coordination, the mind, the whole, and he goes, like, he's a good golfer. I golf with him. He's I golf with him more than anybody else. Beautiful golf swing. But he's got those little narrower shoulders that can get his hands together really well, his arms together, and just it's like a woman's golf swing. The women tend to swing the club a lot nicer. It's a lot more fluid than men, I find. And let's face it, they're a lot more fun to watch. But he's kind of like that. He's got that swing, and he says, "You think I can have a slap shot?" I'm like, "No." Just
not
no.
That swing.
So,
my gosh.
But it is funny how
I don't know how you went from talking about the NHL playoffs to talking about women's golf, Jay. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well,
fucking guy in the world.
watch women's golf, you'll see.
Well, you say best time of the year. Best time of the year is him golfing with women in Dominican. Hey,
while watching the playoffs. Hey, we'll be golfing here and watching playoff hockey too.
It sounds like the snow is melting. Yeah.
Oh, it's a beautiful time of year. Spring is coming. Everything gets nice in Canada this time of year. It's beautiful. The grass is growing. The outfits are thinner.
Better.
And
the golf courses were open in London, Ontario last week. And now it's
golf courses are open
cold.
Here all year long, boys. And there's
short
skirts and whatever else you like.
I wanted to talk about the scoring race, but we'll leave that till next week because we've got a few more weeks of hockey. But one thing I did want to talk about on this show, because we talked about him a lot last show, was Matt Rempe. Is he fucking out of control? Because this guy is just fighting everybody. He's had a couple, 10-game misconducts for just fucking being a meathead. That fucking elbow was insane. I haven't seen an elbow like that. Like, that was fucking nasty. And he got 4 fucking games for it.
Chicken wing.
That's all he
got
fucking
5.
got. No, he got 4.
Plus the game
he
got
got 4.
ejected.
But I guess, yeah. So 5 total, I guess, yeah. But the game you get ejected doesn't really count, I guess. Well, then put it that way. Then he got the same thing as Morgan Riley. And my argument is should Morgan Riley have got less then? Because I think Matt Rempe's hit was an intent to injure for sure immediately. Did he mean to do it? Probably not. He's just jacked up and just excited to play as a tough guy in the league, as a rookie that's, fighting everybody. But I thought it was fucking nasty. Do I like the kid? Absolutely. I love him. I wish that we would have drafted him on the Leafs. He'd be a massive addition to our team. But that was fucking nasty. What do you think about the league's decision, Dylan? Do you think it was enough? Do you think he should have got a big fine with it? Do you think he'll smarten up? Or is he coming to rock and roll? And this is the style of game that the Rangers need to win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I think the NHL came and burst his little bubble because he had a little it's a little what do they call that? Inflated ego syndrome, I think, because they were calling him what, the Rempire State Building and the I don't even know the nicknames and the memes and the instant fame that he has received throughout the league, the hockey world, the millions of people out there that now know of this guy, and he got a little confident, a little overconfident, thought he could run around and do that kind of stuff, and the league said, no way. This is not a slap on the wrist either. This is a 4-game suspension. It's pretty serious. And he's got like almost 2 weeks to stay at home or stay in the press box or do whatever and think about what he's done and feel shame, because that kind of stuff, I don't tolerate it, man. I hate it. It's fucking goonery, and it's only necessary if you're reacting. But if you're going after guys, that's not hockey. Yeah. I'm sorry. That's not fucking hockey. Don't do it. I don't want it. I don't want to see it. Morgan Riley, he got the stick up on Buddy's face after he took a clap. Okay, that's a reactive thing at the end of the game. But this Rempe guy is completely out of control. He's ballistic right now. Like, the league needs to shut him down and slow him down. And the veteran hockey players on that team need to have a conversation with him and be like, you can't do this anymore. You got to chill the fuck out, bro. Like, elbowing people, hurting people, like, get out there and fight and earn some respect. He didn't even fight. What's his name? McDermott.
Yeah.
Didn't even fight the guy. Hurt a guy. Was it the game before?
Lushkin. Yeah, Lushkin. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, but he hurt a guy in Jersey.
Yeah.
And then he went out and didn't fight McDermott, and then elbows the guy, and it's like, fuck, man. No, man. You had so much respect as from the fighters in the league, and that takes a lot for those guys to respect you, because fighters in the league don't respect anybody. That's why they're fighters. They don't give a shit about anybody, especially skilled guys. Maybe a little bit about skilled guys because they don't go after them. But I mean, they have a code, and there is a code. And Rempe broke the code. As a young guy, you can't be doing that shit. So, well-deserved suspension. Hopefully he learns his lesson. And I hope for the best. I hope he turns into more of a skilled player and scores a couple. I think he's got a couple goals already, which is better than most goons in the league. But at the same time, play hockey, bro. Play fucking hockey. All right? That's not hockey. I don't like it. I never ran around and did that shit unless you pissed me off because I was a skilled player. Yeah. Well, I was a skilled player. I like scoring goals. I like playing hockey. I like staying true to the game. But I also like the fact that if the refs aren't controlling the game, if the refs are missing stuff, which I tell you what, man, just a side note on reffing, because I don't know, we're going to talk about Tortorella?
Why don't we talk about Torts too?
Okay, let's talk about him in a bit. Let's finish our thought on Rempe here.
Yeah,
and then we'll come
and
back
then I'll
to
throw you over to Tortorella. I think that's warranted. Boy, oh boy, the roughing in this league's fucking atrocious. J-Dog, what do you think about Matt Rempe? Your opinion on him, and,
fucked up,
and
bro.
Also about that nasty fucking hit.
Don't like the hit. That I don't like. There's no doubt the elbow was up. However, there's
the only guy who liked that was Brad Marchand.
Okay, so there was that was a bad hit. I don't like the one on Labushkin. I don't like the one on the kid from Jersey either. However, you ask any one of these dudes that he has to fight in this league, what this kid's doing right now is making a name for himself. It has nothing to do with respect or anything. He is making himself a contract that's going to be signed, sealed, and delivered. That's going to make him a lot of money because people are coming to watch. He's filling the stands. I don't like the hits. Like I said, the fights, love it. Of course, the hits. There's one hit that I think the hit on Labushkin was absolutely atrocious. That was way worse, if you want my honest opinion, because he came 3 or 4 strides. I think it was 4 strides. He jumped in the air and he hit him in the head. directly with his shoulder. Way worse than a fucking elbow. Anybody that thinks that an elbow is worse than a fucking shoulder, you're out of your mind, especially when it's up against the wall or up against the boards. You know, and I'm 5'7", played good hockey. I've been smashed around. My head's been rattled around like a fucking bowling ball. I like, you know, I'm surprised I can still keep a thought. But the point is that like Rempe's 6'7" or 6'9" or whatever the hell he is, 6'7", I think it is.
6'7", I think.
241.
He's huge.
Yeah, 6'7", 241, good Calgary boy. I love this kid. I like what he's doing. He's making a name for himself. That team is going to be also a contender. There's no question. The space that kid is creating for the guys on his team, he's not a liability except for the penalties. The kid's got he's a +3. He's got a goal. He's got 1 or 2 assists, I think. He was in front of the net for the goal the other night that they won the game. Like the goalie didn't see it because he was standing in front of the net. So to me, I love what he's doing. I see the end game. I don't like the elbows and the dirty hits.
He's learning.
No, dude, he's 21 years old. He's past learning as far as what he should be doing. He's got guys in his ear telling him exactly what he should be doing. And this is a New York style, New York thought process. They don't give a shit about anybody else. And that's what he's being told. However, he is a good Canadian boy. Like I said, he's out of Calgary. He should know better. There's no question. But the hype is there. He's being told what to do. At 21 and a rookie, you don't do anything that you're not being told to do. So this is on management and coaching. This is not on him. He might make the odd thing like that 3 steps or 4 steps from the middle of the ice over to smash Labutskin. That's a friggin' bad idea. But
think he's getting told to run out there and start smashing guys?
Yes, I do.
Smash fucking heads. Yeah, for sure.
I 100% do.
Scare the fuck out of them.
I'm telling you, exactly. Create space for your team. And they've had a hard time getting over the top for the last few years.
Intimidate their forecheck. Is that what it is?
They've got the best. I think like them in Colorado have the best defensive core. They've not been great up front as far as the playoffs are concerned. They haven't made it past the third round in how long now?
They've got a lot of skilled players that can put the puck in the net that haven't been.
Absolutely. But the point is that they needed, like during the playoffs, they get beat up physically because they've not been a big team up front over the last while. Chris Kreider, has been their L-dependent guy, and same thing with Zibanejad. But you're not really counting on anybody else. They're not physical guys. Chris Kreider can play physical because he's so fast. If he wants to hit, he can. But that team has not been playing physical, really physical, until this year. And this kid has brought the sauce. And I think there was a plan here. And I think the plan was get out there, make a name for yourself. We don't care at what cost. Do what you're told. Run people, punch people's face off. You're a fucking monster. Let's make people scared. And then come playoff time, let's play hockey. I think that's what's going to happen. And you're going to see that they're going to have space. As soon as he gets out on the ice, they're going to have space. People are be fucking avoiding whoever he's playing with. And the kid's not a bad hockey player. He's not a bid hockey player.
He's a good skater for that size.
Especially for a big dude. I think this kid could be something I think he could be an actually half decent hockey player. And I think he's going to be like a Tom Wilson type. I think he can score goals. I think at some point this kid's going to score 25 or 30 goals. I actually do. If you just watch him, I mean, he's got skills, and a lot of these goals I think he's going to get are going to be coming from the dirty area. But he's got pretty quick hands too. You see him like the rebounds. He's getting shots. He's excited right now. He's not so much thinking about scoring as he is just being involved in the game. He's just happy to be out there. He's only getting 3 to 5 minutes a game. So I think once this kid starts playing a little bit more and he settles down, which I think is going to happen, obviously, I think what he was told was do as much as you can get away with for, without getting suspended. And then once that happens, we'll shut you down on as much shit, and then we'll play some good hockey. So I like what's gone on. I think they did a smart thing. And I think that's just planning. I think that's just planning ahead.
I think
marketing, baby. Marketing.
He will come back and be a different player. He'll be calmer, and they can focus more on hockey. But yeah, like everything you said is bang on, man. This guy is like, look at a guy like Zdeno Chara when he went to Boston, even when he was with Ottawa, like that guy couldn't even fucking barely skate. Like Zdeno Chara, I could skate better than him. Like there was a ton of guys that could skate better than him. They just trained him. He was completely trainable, and they taught him what to do. And he was a force for Boston, right? Like nobody messed with Boston with Zdeno Chara, and no one's gonna mess with New York with this Rempe kid back there.
Yep. Oh,
so,
like said,
it's a good thing we have Revo, the arguably the toughest guy in the league, and now.
Yeah, and Revo said he's going
to
be a menace. Yeah. He's going to be a menace.
And Revo was battling him in that fight, man. Revo was taking those like neck jabs, throat jabs. Like Revo was just.
Oh yeah, he can fight, man. For 21, like he's holding his own, and like I love the kid. He's bringing the old style rock'em sock'em hockey back to the hockey that is now the fast pace, all full of goals and scoring, and let's not hit, let's not fight. He's bringing the '90s hockey back, and I just absolutely love him for that.
Yeah, but he can't be taking skilled guys out of the game. Though.
Brett and I were talking last night. Brett and I were talking about rock'em sock'em tapes and how we used to watch them before our hockey games and get pumped up with Don Cherry and his tapes. Literally is what we used. Me and him both used to watch those tapes on the VHS, throw them in, watch them until they break. Getting pumped up for our hockey games and going and smashing kids. Like every like that's why I love to play the game. I was a hitter. I wasn't a goal scorer. Well, I sit in front of the net, scored my fair share, but I was a hitter and I was a fighter. And like I tell you right now, this is the hockey that I want to see. But keep it fucking clean. Like, don't be going and running people and smashing people in the head with your shoulder. Yeah, it's easy to do when you're 6'7", for sure. But learn that you can't fucking do that in this league anymore. Like, it's not right.
You gotta play with it. You got to play within the rules. You got to play within the rules.
On top of that,
you're not trying hard enough.
on top of that, if you're gonna fuck around, you're gonna fucking find out. And if people want to, if you fought so many fucking times and you elbow somebody like that in Carolina, and then you don't fucking fight, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And you're gonna have a fucking huge target on your fucking head. You're in trouble, Rempe. You are. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, they play Jersey.
In trouble.
They play Jersey again. You watch out.
You're in trouble, brother.
Exactly. When he was doing this, when he was like, bye-bye, keep yapping to McDermott, and he was like, bye-bye. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, he is so under their skin. They have their number guaranteed. They're not even going to be, they're going to be so jacked that he's dead, blah, blah, blah. They might not even play. The smart thing
focused on him and not on
play Rempe the next game against New Jersey. That would be the smart thing, and just make them more aggravated. They'd have a whole team plan, and let's win the game, but let's fucking nail this motherfucker. And I guarantee you, it's all about the win. But if the win doesn't matter, then obviously they'd be thinking about, retribution. And I tell you right now, with the way the league is right now, it's all about the way the league punishes everybody. It's all about who returns the favor. If you do the initial smash, you get a little penalty. But if you retaliate, you get the big penalty, which is absolutely insane. I think
you know what? Yeah. You know what the NHL needs is the Matt Rempe mom cam, where it's just a camera on his mom.
I want to see it.
Or like a YouTube of their house where she's just watching him play. Could you imagine? I would like to meet this woman, to be honest, and just ask her a few questions.
She's probably a foot and a half taller than he is.
Oh, yeah. She's probably
a power lifter or something.
I wonder if she's a looker. If she's just if she's just a huge troll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder.
Anyway,
we'll get pictures next show. We'll get pictures.
Parents, I bet.
Yeah. So
we'll get an interview with
wanted to talk about Torts and what happened with Torts. I'm going to throw it over to Coach Nose and his take on this crazy league, the shitty roughing, and consequences for coaches. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually reffed my kids house C game against another house C team, and I reffed a little bit way back, and obviously I know the game, but reffing is hard, man. Obviously these guys are trained, they do it every day, so they're able to tune in, but watching the play, tracking everything, watching penalties, it's not like when you're coaching and you see everything, right? Or when you're playing and you feel everything. When you're a ref, you're like, okay, I got to blow the whistle you got to blow the whistle for everything, or you got to put your hand up for everything and then wait. There's a whole procedure and there's a whole rule book this fucking thick that they got to follow. And then they got the coaches in their ears, in their heads, chirping, yammering the players. It's a crazy job. And for Tortorella to go off the handle, doesn't surprise me. This is his style. He's a fiery Italian guy, and one of the winningest coaches in the NHL. Guys love him. His team loves him, but he's got to do better at managing the referee situation, because otherwise, he obviously hasn't learned. For a coach with his pedigree, he has not learned the lesson of reffing diplomacy, let's call it, because when he's yelling and screaming and swearing, it's not doing anything. It's blocking him out.
Do a better job at it. You can put somebody in their place without swearing. You can put them you can argue your thought passionately without swearing. We've done it on the show without swearing. We like to swear though, but you can argue your argument with a ref and let them fucking know how pissed off you are without dropping the F-bomb. Absolutely, Dylan. Absolutely.
Sometimes you just gotta just posture for something better. Hey, listen, you owe me one on this next one. Come on. That was, come on. That was a bad call. Yeah. You owe me one. Let's go. If you get caught up in that moment and you're losing sight, he had tunnel vision, man. He lost sight of the next 3 games that he has to coach. He lost sight of that game he was coaching. He was seeing red and there was no stopping him. And hey, we've all been there. We all feel that. And when things are unfair and you feel like you're being unfairly targeted like he did, you're going to boil over, and that's exactly what happened. But I'd love to say that he learned his lesson, but given his track record and his hilarious post-game interviews, I don't know if Torts is really going to change that much. He'll never change. Don't ever change, Torts. But at the same time,
we love you.
That's hilarious. Good for you. Just not leave the bench when getting kicked out like a little child, being sent to his room.
But
that is fucking priceless. I don't think that's ever happened. Fuck you, I'm not going.
That has happened lots of times.
It?
And I'm going to tell you right now, I loved every minute of it, and I think it was warranted. And fuck the refs, because they fucking control the fucking games. They're not letting the players control the games like they should. The refs should be seen and not heard, just like your 7-year-old kid at the dinner table. Well, at least that's what I was at my house, right? I'm telling you right now, I think that the referees have so much, you get McCauley, the guy's got such personality, and he showed it for a little while, but then his ego got this fucking big, and he has a hard time getting through the gate onto the ice because his head won't fit between the 2 glass plates. I'm telling you right now, the referees have so much control over the game. I think that this is total pussy moves by the ref, as far as I'm concerned, because they called a shit call, and I don't like the way that they, not just the whole game. I watched that game, and I'm telling you, it was 7-0. There was penalties that didn't deserve to be called. There was penalties that should have been called. There was no consistency whatsoever. And the worst part, I could go on about all this shit forever, but the problem is there is zero zero fucking retribution that a coach has. Accountability. Exactly. You had your say, shut up for a second. I'm fucking angry. I'm sorry. I can't stand listening to anybody protect the referees anymore. It's just past that point. I am so sick and tired of it. They get paid really good money. There's more of them on the ice. They take up more room. They don't get out of the way. They actually interfere with play because they don't move when the puck's coming around the boards. They cause injury, and they don't do anything extra. All they're doing is causing. Why would you want more people on the ice? It's already clogged up. They need them. Honestly, I think they should be going. I would like to see the rinks a little bit bigger, not Olympic size, but a little bit bigger. Because you got a bunch of dudes that are 6 foot something out there and 200 pounds skating around, and there's and the referees, not all the referees are tiny dudes either. So there's not a lot of room on there. There's 2 referees, 2 friggin' linesmen, 2 goalies. There's not enough room. And you have these guys that miss everything. Here's the thing. If you're going to use instant replay for one thing, you get to use instant replay for everything. A coach should be able to call any penalty as far if a penalty has been called. Sorry, I should say this a little bit better. If a penalty has been called for something that we know is a miss, it's being played right up there on the fucking center screen, and we see, the stick came up by the guy's face, and it's like this far away, but because he did this, and then he did a big dive like a soccer player, he's now got a fucking penalty, which changes the shape of the game. And the stupid part is, then you got guys like REMPE who ran friggin' Labushkin right in front of the referee, left his skates, and nothing was called, and Labushkin probably had a concussion. He just didn't want to talk to anybody about it. And they said he was all right afterwards. But let's face it, like if you're not acting like you're all fucked up, yeah, they're going to check your eyes. But there's lots of shit that happens to people afterwards. There's no doubt, and the concussion sometimes kind of act afterwards as opposed to when it really, like at first, when it first happened. So there's, referees are not accountable for anything anymore. And there's no fines for referees for missing anything. These guys, if this is it, honestly, if I keep saying that I think there's lots of fixes going on in professional sports, and if referees were accountable for their actions, then there wouldn't be any fixing of anything. And if the replay's there, and I think that the calls should be made by when they go to Toronto for the calls and stuff like that, especially in the playoffs, or New York or wherever they're going to, I think that those things, if they're overturned, a referee's decision is overturned, then he should be accountable and he should be fined just like anybody else, especially if he's argued with the coaches and the players and told them to fuck off. Because I don't know if you guys ever hear the mic'd up referees like on some of those like fun,
like they're potty mouths.
Exactly.
They love to fucking chirp so bad.
Exactly.
Chirp right back.
Well, Shorzy, that's actually what happens. It's not as bad, obviously, but they talk shit too, and there's some tough referees out there. So a lot of them are not afraid to fucking say, hey, shut up or I'll punch you in the face. You know what I mean? Like that shit like that happens. I've been reffed by refs that have threatened me because I kept telling them to fuck off. And
so Jay, what's the answer? What's the answer? Do you give?
Oh, I know the answer, but go ahead.
I just have a question. Do you give the coaches like 2 penalty challenges per game? Each coach gets 2 freebies.
I don't see why not. If it's
an egregiously bad call.
Yes, I think.
Yeah, I love it.
Especially if it's being played right there on the fucking screen and
guys,
everybody sees it. You hear the crowd.
Get some money together. Send me to the GM's meeting, and I'll go there and I'll bring my little microphone.
I know the answer, and we've said it before. Fuck Bettman. Fuck you. Get the fuck out. You're done. Retire. You're fucking loaded. Why are you still doing this? Seriously, fuck off.
Control.
We need
I don't think
a new face
anymore.
of this fucking league. We do. We need changes. The reffing goes from one way, and maybe it's shit some games, but it goes from one way in the regular season to a completely fucking different way in the playoffs. And it is obvious on what fucking Bettman wants and what teams he wants to fucking win. It's ridiculous. It's sickening. the way that he fucks with the refs. It's so bad. And people say, "Oh yeah, no, he's not involved." Are you fucking stupid? Like there's so much money on the line here. So
I
much money
don't
on the line.
know, man.
So
Maybe.
I've been watching a lot of hockey, and I say that when there's some calls made, late in a seventh game when one team's up and it's the team that shouldn't win.
Bettman's making a call, being like, you need to put a penalty in here.
There's numerous examples of this, and I think that our fans,
the fucking conspiracy theory fans of our show are gonna love this.
Yeah, definitely, and it's the honest truth as far as I'm concerned. Bettman needs to fucking go, and he controls the refs. Like, who pays the refs?
Look, no. Listen, guys, listen. Remember when fucking cross-checking was a thing? Like, everybody was cross-checking. So at the beginning of the year, they're like, okay, no one's allowed to cross-check anymore. And they started calling the cross-checks, and the players learned that every time you cross-check, you were going to get a call. Cross-check, every little cross-check was a call. Cross-check, penalty, cross-check, penalty. Beginning of the year. So they need to do shit like that to get the players under control. The players are out of control. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I don't agree.
In the playoffs, you're fucking out of control.
I know you won't agree.
Just fucking let it go. Look at perfect fucking example. Sam Bennett last year, he got fucking nothing.
I'm gonna make a call out right now because a good North Bay boy that I've met a few times when I was younger, Steve Walcom, is the director of the NHL referees, vice president as director of officiating for the NHL. He was a great referee. I thought he was fantastic his whole career. I've seen him in action several times. I thought, and I golfed with him once. I thought he was a great guy, but I don't know what's happened. But he's not. I would like to actually talk to him in person.
Come on the show.
Calling him out. I'm actually gonna have him. I'm gonna see if I can get him on the show. I got a lot of friends back home in North Bay that know him. So, and like I said, I've met him, but I don't really know him or anything like that. So I'd like to actually have him on the show. And I think Tim Foster, a good friend of mine back from North Bay, he's a retired OPP officer. Shout out to him. He was one of the best referees I've ever been involved with. Funny as hell. I mean, and he's a cop, so the sense of humor. So he took a lot of shit. He's had some bad games himself where I was not impressed with his refereeing, but he's just such a good dude. You couldn't really be mad at him for long, And he actually
get him on the show.
Yeah, I'm actually going to now. I'm going to ask him. And I think actually he'd be a good guy to have on every once in a while. He reffed in the OHL for a lot of years, so he's got a high pedigree as far as the refereeing is concerned, and he's just a good dude, and he's very well spoken. He's a lot. The only thing is, I'll say I'm not too sure if he's ready for the hype that we have in comparison. He's a lot lower key kind of guy, but I think he'd be great to have on the show and definitely give a better perspective of what's going on with the refereeing at this time.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Keep your head up, hockey. Do the refs suck in the NHL? Opinion is yes, they do. Things need to change. But I got to say, if you like the show tonight, and you've reached the end here, you obviously liked it. Smash that like button, share the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want you to tell a friend, have a beer, have a cold drink, have dinner, talk about our crazy show on how we're just outspoken. We want to grow this group. To be honest, all of us want to do this full time. We really do, and we think that it'd be fantastic to do so, but we got to do the right thing. Is get a word of mouth going. Let's grow this show. Let's get noticed. We want to be that show that comes to you nightly and full time where we can get rid of our day jobs. Seriously. So thanks for your support. Thanks for doing that favor for us. A shout out to KK Poker again. A shout out to Core 4. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. And a massive thank you again for watching. Keep your head up. We'll see you next time. 17 Leaf games until the playoffs. It's the most wonderful time of the year. We'll see you next Tuesday and Saturday for the Leafs pregame show. Go Leafs, go! Let's go!